Okay. Hello, everybody. This is Young Family Tai Chi long form, section 1. And we are starting from the beginning. So, the first thing is the salute. And you make your fist and you cover it. And you bow from your hips. So in the traditional class, the teacher would say, 同学们好, which is hello students. And the students respond, 老师好, which is hello teacher. The salute is actually an example of one of the basic things about Tai Chi, which is it's based on yin-yang theory. So the fist is the martial side, which is personified by the soldier. And the paper is the civil side, which is personified by the scholar. So the scholar meets the soldier. And essentially, you're coming together in peace, right? You're not exposing your fist to punch you, right? So that is the story. So Tai Chi is based on yin-yang theory. And yin-yang has 3 characteristics. The first is interdependence. So if you have day and night depend on each other. There can be no one without the other. The second property is restriction. Each restricts the other. So the day restricts the night. And the third is transmogrification, which is at the extreme, the one becomes the other. So if you have day, you get brighter and brighter until noon, and then it starts getting dimmer and dimmer. And then when you get to the darkest part of the night, it becomes the dawn. So those are the properties of yin and yang, and Tai Chi is based on that. So if you have empty and full, and you have forward and back, up and down, all these things are evidenced together in Tai Chi. Okay? Then the next thing I'd like to talk about is body shape. When you're doing Tai Chi, it is important that you have good body shape. And there are 2 ways of knowing your body in Tai Chi. There is still practice and moving practice. And still practice is standing. And in the old days, the teachers used to make the students stand for hours. And for most people, they'd be lucky to last 5 minutes. So the idea of standing is that it does 3 things for you. It reminds you of your proper body shape. It encourages your proper breathing. And it calms your mind. So let's look at it from top to bottom. Okay. So from the top, think of lifting your head. And then from your neck down, think of the rest of your body hanging from a hanger. Now, make your round shape. So if you look at it, can you see my hands are pretty much round? And it's like a fist width apart between my hands. So I'm here. And what does this do for me? It allows the energy to come from my spine out to my hands. So I'm unifying the energy that comes from my spine out to the tips of my fingers. Now, how does my energy get to my spine? Your energy comes from your feet. Okay. So if you think about your the original founder of Tai Chi Chuan, Zhan Sanfeng, said that your energy comes from your feet, comes through your legs, is controlled by your waist, and is evidenced by your hand. So it comes from your feet up through your body and out your hand. So how does it do that? It comes from your feet through your spine. And by doing this, I want you to feel that energy coming out your fingers, right? Now, so you have your head up, your shoulders are down, your elbows are below your shoulders, right? Now you need to sink your waist. For the Chinese, the waist is not where your belt is. It is essentially like your lower back. It is actually just inside your back. So if you think of it as your lower spine, okay? And when I say sink the waist, it means sink the lower back. So what I want you to do is lower your tailbone so that your spine is stretched out from your tailbone to your head. So if you look at the side, what I want is I want you to be slightly tucked in. Can you see that? So it's like my tailbone is pointing straight down instead of pointing out. I want it to point straight down. And that straightens out my spine. And then I soften my knees, right? And where am I standing? I'm standing on my feet. And how do I know that I'm standing properly on my feet? For the Chinese, you should be on your bubbling well. Well, that's an acupuncture point that's kind of behind the ball of your foot. But that really isn't that helpful. I think it's more helpful to think about your foot as a triangle. If you have a triangle with the 3 points defined by the ball of your big toe, the ball of your little toe, and your heel, and you make sure all 3 points are equally contacting the ground, that will give you a better sense of the grounding you need on your feet. And when I say to bring your tailbone down, I do not want you to do a pelvic tilt, which is a common misconception. And the reason I don't like that is the pelvic tilt essentially tightens your abdominal muscles in order to get your tailbone down. What I want you to do is let the tailbone down using your legs. So let's do a little exercise. If you think about your feet, think about having the triangle inside your feet. Now imagine my hands are your feet. What I want you to do is I want you to think about screwing your feet into the ground. So think about screwing them into the ground. So if you imagine that, try doing that. What do you feel? You feel that your knees tend to go out. right? And your heels, your whole foot is more solidly in the ground. Your glutes come in and your tailbone goes down. Okay. By doing that, this is an exercise that essentially tenses up those muscles to get you into that shape. Now, I want you to relax your muscles and retain that shape. That's what you want your body shape to be. Okay. For the Chinese, this relaxation is called song. And song actually means the connection of all your tendons and fascia, but without tension. And that's very important because you want to be relaxed. You want to have the suppleness of like a whip. So when the energy goes from the handle of a whip, it goes all the way to the tip, but it is not stiff, right? It is supple. It just travels down there. And that's what you want. So when you are striking, for example, you want to think of your energy coming from your heel and coming out your hand, right? You don't want a stiffness because the stiffness will impede your energy. So energy and breath are very connected. Okay. So that's one of the reasons why you want to do standing practice. You want to reinforce your body shape. Your body shape allows you to breathe freely. So that's one of the tests of whether you're in the correct shape. If you do not breathe well, it means that your body shape is wrong. Okay. And then relax your mind, calm your mind, because calming your mind will also relax your body. Okay? Are there any questions on that?
I've heard someone on the Facebook Yang Family Tai Chi group say this is embrace the tree.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes. A lot of people describe it as tree hugging.
Yeah.
Tree
Well,
hugging.
yeah.
It's and in Chinese, it's like stand like a pole, which is not, I don't
That's
know,
not helpful.
not that helpful. Stand like a pole. That doesn't
Yeah.
seem helpful to me anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I hadn't heard it called that. I knew what they meant because my Sifu had taught me, to stand like this.
Yes.
But like the fine bits about the energy flow is the first I've heard of it. So I was like, oh, okay. That's the background. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so when you do this, this is this is the feeling in your body that you should have when you're doing preparation. Okay, so the first move in the form is preparation. And all you're doing in preparation is you have your feet shoulders width apart and you're standing with your hands by your side. But what you should be doing is internally making that structure, straightening out your spine and lowering your hips. Okay, so you have soft knees, lowered hips, and your head is up. So after preparation, your first move is opening. Now, opening is one of the most important moves, even though it doesn't look like much. Okay. So what do you do in opening? Well, what you do is you turn your hands so they're facing back. And then you raise them to shoulder level. Now, the thing that's important about this is you are not raising you should not feel like you're lifting your shoulders. In other words, I do not want you to lift your shoulders when you're doing this. In fact, when you're doing this, your shoulders should feel like they're going down as your hands are coming up. So that's the feeling you should have. You turn your hands in and your shoulders feel like they're going down. And the important thing to allow that to happen is the points of your elbow should be facing down, not out. So it's not out. Your elbow points are facing down. And then when you come down, you're starting from the upper arm and moving all the way down. And when you get to the bottom, your hands are, can you see, kind of flat. Now, what does this do for you? What does this opening do for you? Well, it is the first movement. So you have your first up and down, and it is a good exercise for breathing. So you can breathe in and breathe out. So you can do this as an exercise. The other thing that's important about this move is it controls the pace of the entire form. So this move, you should be doing your form at the same pace all the time. So if you're doing it at the same pace, this determines that pace. Okay. So now I want to introduce two things in preparation for the first move of grasp the bird's tail. Okay. The first thing I'd like to work on is bow stance. Okay. So when I said stand shoulders width apart, what does that mean? That means that the outside of my shoulders corresponds to the outside of my feet. And as an approximation of how you can look at it is if you put your hands with your little fingers together, you'll see that your thumbs are approximately where your shoulders are. And if you took that and you put it down, that'll give you a rough sense of what that width would be. So the outside of your shoulders, outside of your feet. Most people tend to have it too narrow. And if you're doing standing practice, you might make it wider because a lot of people like a wider standing practice. But in terms of the form, it's important for you to know what shoulder width is. Okay. And for the bow stance, the way you get into a bow stance is you shift all your weight to one foot, and that allows you to turn on the heel of the other foot. And you turn that 45 degrees, and then you put all your weight on that foot. And your hips move in the direction of that foot. Then you put all your weight on the right. And in this case, you're just going to put your leg forward, heel, ball, toe, bend knee. So you have a 60-40 distribution of weight. And the important thing is that you should not step farther than you can return. So that's what determines your stride. Okay. So if I'm here and I'm standing upright, I can only make a stance this long. If I bend my knee more, I can make it this long, right? So it all has to do with the strength of your back leg. How far can you step without having to push back to get it back? Okay, it should be natural and it should be stable. Okay, you should always be stable. And for most of the bow stances, what you want to do is, if you're going to have 60% of the weight in front, then your back leg is almost straight. Your front leg is bent, and you should have a line from the heel of your back foot to the nape of your neck. Okay, so you're slightly leaned forward. And that is actually what helps give you that 60-40 weight distribution. So since you guys already know the form, the difference between this and the empty stance is not the stride length. The difference between the empty stance is not the stride length, not whether you're leaning or not. The difference is whether your center is further front or back. So when you're in empty stance, your weight is further in the back, right? So let's say if you had a heel touch, the stride length is the same. It's only where your torso is between your feet that determines how the weight distribution lies. Okay? So let's do a little bit of Taiji walking so that you can get a sense of empty and full for the transfer of weight. So if we're going to do, I'm going to do it backwards, really this way, same direction as you. Okay, so if I shift my weight here to release the heel of my right foot so that I can pivot, and then I'm going to move in the direction of this foot, which will be my back foot. Then I'm going to lift up and come forward. And then heel, ball, toe, bend knee. Now the next step, I'm going to shift back to release this foot and turn it 45 degrees. And then I'm going to move this way. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull through before I step out. Now, why did I have to do that? because my feet are far apart. When my feet are here, they're close together, so all I need to do is step forward. But when my feet are farther apart, then I come through. Essentially, I stabilize and then step out. So the subsequent steps essentially pull through and then step out. Does that make sense? And that is the general rule. You pull through before you step out if your feet are far apart.
How do you make sure that when you're swinging your stepping foot out again, that you're not stepping too close, that you're maintaining the space of the bow stance?
Well, this is the problem with the bow stance. In other words, you have to do a lot of bow stances to basically have enough muscle memory to know what is shoulder width. So when I'm here, this is easy because it's just going to go straight forward. But this one, essentially, what you should think about is where you want to step. This is just a transition to allow you to step more comfortably. So here, you're just coming through so that it's more comfortable. But you should have in mind the goal, which is the ultimate position of your bow stance. Okay? There are a lot of things that are just a transition, but they make things a lot easier. Okay? Now, the next thing I would like to do in preparation for the first move of Grasp the Bird's Tail is hands. So if you are in your hug a tree shape, okay, and you turned your hands so that the palms face each other, okay, turn your hands so the palms face each other, and then squeeze. Now your upper hand is at your shoulder level, and your lower hand is underneath the elbow of the upper hand. Okay, this is close. Now, what I want you to do is separate and then close in the other position. Okay, so open, close. Now, in the intermediate for this is that when you start to open, you can see that this hand is facing out and this hand is facing in, right? Then it flattens out. Then the other hand is out and in. And then you close. Okay? So make sure that your hands are rotating correctly through your forearm. And this forearm rotation is very important for a lot of parts of the form. Okay, so open and close. Open and close. Open and close.
On
Yes.
close, is the lower hand palm up Or
The
palm
lower hand
towards
is
you?
palm up. The
Okay.
lower hand is palm up and the upper hand is seated. Okay. So what does seated mean? Seated means that it's rounded this way. You have the round shape this way. That is seated. Okay. So when you're opening, you have one out and one in, and then one up, one down, and close. And this one is under the elbow, and this is seated. Okay. So here. Open. And close. See the upper one? Yes. Okay. So this hand exercise actually is part of body shape. So when you have to maintain your body shape while you're doing this. Okay. So what I don't want you to do is raise your shoulders. So when you have it up, keep your shoulders down. Okay. Even here, your elbows have to be below your shoulders. See here and here. Okay. So how does that feel?
It's a good shoulder exercise, and it's making me realize my shoulders are more tired than I thought they were. So it's like, okay, we can do this. Maybe first thing in the morning, and then work our way up to several times a day.
Well, the thing that you should, if you do standing, it will help you on that front too. Because standing reminds you to keep your shoulders lower. Okay. So when you're, if you're thinking about, let's do a little bit more, since your shoulders are tired, let's do a little bit more of the Tai Chi walking. Okay. And I'm going to show you another kind of walking in addition to help you with your balance. Okay. And this is Qigong walking. So the way Qigong walking works is essentially, if you move your foot to 45 degrees, you put all your weight there. Then you're going to do one line, two sides here. Transfer all your weight and then here. Since you know the form, this footwork is for like parry, block, and punch. Okay, you're doing one line, two sides type walking. And if you're doing this as an exercise, you might think of using your hands to help your balance. Okay, so if you're going this way, if you move your hands this way, it might help your balance, right?
This reminds me of walking in a circle, which of course,
Yeah,
it's one line, two sides on the right,
right,
and then you have to turn and do it on the other side just to balance it out.
right. But the good thing about this is it really helps you for standing on one foot. So if you do this slowly, it will help you stand on one foot. So let's try it again. So you're here, here, shift weight, and that is in many ways simpler than Tai Chi walking because you just keep stepping. Whereas with Tai Chi walking, you're starting at shoulders width, you turn your foot, move, and then come forward, bend knee. Then you come back, turn your foot, and your whole hips and body go that direction. And as you shift your weight, you come through and step. Shift weight. But for all of these, the more slowly you do it, the better exercise it is. Okay. All right. So let's go back to standing and prepare and opening. Okay. So standing, we're here. And I want you to do all the body checks. Head up, shoulders down, elbows down, and tailbone down. Then we're going to move our hands down to our sides. Prepare. So you have the same body shape. You might bend your knees less in prepare. Okay. Then opening. Rotate your arms. Come up to shoulder level. And then sink down almost to the bottom. Let's do that again. Hands by your side. Rotate. Up. Leading with your elbows. And all the way down to the bottom. Okay, do you want to try to start left foot off? Okay, so I'm going to do it in your direction. So you have done opening, so you're almost at the bottom. Then you're going to shift left, turn the right toe to the corner. Then you're going to sit all your weight on the right and then step forward, heel, ball, toe, bend knee. So you're 60-40. The thing is that the first move of the form is the exception to the rule, which is you are not leaning forward, you are upright. So that, in terms of your body shape and your footwork, is the difference. Okay. So you're here, you turn, all the weight on the right, step, heel, ball, toe, bend knee. Hands. You started all the way almost to the bottom. So what you do is when you turn, your hands separate a little bit. When you shift all your weight to the right, you have this one up, one down shape. Remember when we were doing this rotating of hands? Step and close. Turn and shift weight. So if I do it from the side, so you can see better, what happens is I'm separating my hands a little bit. Then as my weight shifts to the right, I am one up, one down. Then as I close, I come forward. So it's step and close. Then as I shift weight, my right hand passes across the middle of the left forearm center and I turn. So I'm no longer looking forward. I'm looking to the side. And my right hand is at the same position it was when I finished opening. It's slightly in front of my thigh and it's flat, parallel to the ground. Okay, so if I'm doing it toward you, it looks like this. I'm turning. One hand up, one hand down. Step and close. Turn and shift weight.
So your left arm there, Rita, is soft, straight, but not rounded like the tree. Correct?
That's right. It's soft, straight.
Got it.
So it's swinging up. Now, one of the things that you have to be careful about is watch your knees. When you turn, make sure your knees always follow your toes. Okay, so I turn my foot. When I put all my weight on this side, I make sure that my knee is here and not here. Okay, I'm in the right direction. And when this one goes forward, can you see? My knee is lined up with my toe. It's not here. It's here. So this is why it's important to have crotch rounded for these exercises. Remember when I was talking to you about standing and screwing your feet into the ground? What that did was it opened up your crotch, right? And you have to have that crotch rounded in order to keep your knees aligned with your toes. So that's one of the reasons why it's great to do standing practice, because you're sure to maintain that body alignment. Okay, so I'm going to do it one more time toward you, and then I'm going to do it in the same direction as you. So we're almost at the bottom, and I turn. One up, one down. Step and close. Turn and bend knee. So my back leg is almost straight. Okay. My my front leg is bent, but not so bent that I can't see my toes. Okay. So make sure that you can still see your toes when you're bent. So from the side, you can see here, one up, one down. When I step, you can see I'm almost straight here, and I'm bent in the front, but I'm not here, right?
You're also facing the corner by the time you're done with it.
Well,
You're
I
at a 40.
am, yes,
Yeah.
Well, I'm actually looking toward the side, but my
What I'm looking
torso
at is your
facing,
hips.
yeah,
I'm looking at your
right.
hips. Where are your hips pointed?
My hips are following the back foot. The hips always follow the back foot.
Okay. I'll have to think about that.
So I'm going to do it in the same direction as you. Okay, so I'm almost at the bottom. I turn. I move all my weight to the right so that I can free my left. Step and close. Shift weight. So my gaze is toward the side, actually. Okay. But my hips are toward the corner. So try it again. Almost at the bottom. Shift left. Turn right. All the weight on the right. Step and close. Shift weight and turn. And you are vertical, right? So this hip is in so that you can have that vertical look. So here, when I'm at my final position, my torso is vertical. Okay. As opposed to here, which was where it would normally be. So there are 3 spots where you're vertical, and this is one of them. Okay, once again, almost to the bottom. All the weight on the right. Step and close. Shift weight and turn. Any questions on that? Okay, let's do it from the beginning. I'm going to be in the same direction as you. Prepare. Head up, shoulders down, tailbone down, and relax your waist. Opening. Rotate your arms as you come up, shoulder level, and then come down, leading with your elbows. Almost to the bottom. Grasp the bird's tail, ward off left. Shift right. Shift left, turn right. All the weight on the right. Step and close. Turn and shift weight. So in terms of your hand shape, I want you to think about when you're swinging up, I want you to have the hand slightly this way, because your contact point is here. And when you swing up, I want you to be, your hand shape has to be this way in order for this to be your contact point. If it's this way, then you have a different contact point. So you want to be here. And when you pull down, I want you to pull down from across the middle of the left forearm.
But it's not like a scrape with your fingers, it's just your hand is open, correct?
Well, actually what is happening is you are warding off up and pulling down. So this is actually a pulling down. So that is why your tiger's mouth is this way. So the tiger's mouth always shows pulling. It shows the potential of grabbing and pulling. So when you are going in this direction, you're showing that I can pull, right? I can grab and pull. So I don't want you to go this way, because that the tiger's mouth is not open to pull, right? So you have to do it with the tiger's mouth going this way. That makes sense?
Yes.
It basically has to do with the application. So it's as if you were coming up and pulling the other person's arm. Okay, so this is kind of a split energy thing. Okay,
Yes.
so if you came up under somebody's elbow and pulled down, that's the move you're doing.
Got it.
Okay, so
Yes.
we did quite a bit today. And let's do it one more time and then we'll close class. How about that? So, feet shoulders width apart, prepare. Head up, hips down. Opening, rotate your arms as you come up to shoulder level and come back down, leading with your elbows and almost to the bottom. Grasp the bird's tail, ward off left, shift left, turn right, all the weight on the right, one hand up, one hand down, step and close, turn and separate. Okay, so that would be the end of class today, and I'll look forward to seeing you guys next week.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was great.
Thank you. That's a lot of good stuff.
Thank you. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.